Welcome to another video on the C programming video series for the beginners. In this video, we will talk about how many bytes are used in order to store different types of values. In previous videos, we have discussed about the variables. We have seen what are they, how we can visualize the variables as boxes, and then we have seen how to create and use variables. Now, when we talked about the boxes, we have seen that depending on the item that we want to store, we will have different sizes of boxes. For example, in order to store a pair of shoes, we will have a small shoe box. In order to store a fridge, we need to have a big fridge box. So just like that, in order to store different types of values, different number of bytes required. In this video, we will see how many bytes are used in order to store different types of values. Whenever you want to find the number of bytes which are used to store a specific value, we can use an operator called as sizeof operator in C language. In order to use this, we have to use the word sizeof, and then we will have a pair of parentheses, and between these parentheses, we will have an expression. Now this expression is evaluated, and depending on the evaluated value, the sizeof operator will return the number of bytes used to store that value. Here, in place of this expression, we can have the data types like int, float, char, etc. We can use the variable names, and also we can use some values. We will talk about that later in this video. Now let us see how many bytes are used in order to store an integer value. In order to display that, I will use the printf function in here. I will say bytes used for int, and then a colon, and then a placeholder. Here, this placeholder will get the value from the sizeof operator. In order to display the value that we get from the sizeof operator, we need to use the format specifier %zu, and then I will insert a new line in here, and after that we will have the comma, and now we have to provide the value for this placeholder. The value will come from the sizeof operator, and here I will use int data type. Now here this sizeof operator will return the number of bytes used to store integer values. If I save this program and if I run this, we can see bytes used for int 4. Now similarly, we can see the number of bytes used for different data types. What I do is I will copy this printf statement and I will paste it multiple times, and I will display the bytes used for float, char, and double. Okay, now I have changed the message here, and also I have changed the data type. So if I save this program and if I run this now, here we can see that bytes used for int 4, for float 4, for double 8, and for char 1. Now these values can change depending on the compiler used. Here the compiler that we are using, it uses 4 bytes of memory for integers, 4 bytes for float, 8 bytes for double, and 1 bytes for char. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this as a comment. So we will use a multi-line comment which will convert all these statements as comments. Now here with this sizeof, I have said that we can use the variable names also. Just to demonstrate that, I will use an integer variable. I will call it as age, and I will assign a value of 30 here, and then I will use a printf statement. I will just copy this and paste it in here. And after that, here with this sizeof, we can use this variable name age. Now let us change the message here. We will say bytes used. And if I save this program and if I run this now, we can see bytes used is 4. Here we are using this variable name, and since this variable is of type integer, it says that this compiler uses 4 bytes of memory for storing the value present in this age variable. Similarly, we can use the variables from different data types. Now the next thing that we see here is with this size of we can use values. For example, I can say 30 here, directly. So here, in order to store this value of 30, how many bytes of memory is used? If I save this program and if I run this, we will get 4. Now if I make it 30.30 and if I save and run this program, it will display 8. It considers this as a double value. And here what we can do is we can type in like 10 plus 20. If I save this program and if I run this, what happens? We get bytes used is 4. Here what happens is it performs 10 plus 20. The result is 30, and the number 30 is an integer number, a whole number, and that's why in order to store the value of 30, we need 4 bytes of memory. Similarly, if I may change the value here, let us say 20.2 plus 10. If I save this program and if I run this, it says 8 bytes are required. Again, here it considers this as a double type. The result will be 30.2. It considers the 30.2 as double, and that's why it says 8 bytes are required. We will use this size of operator later in this video series, and we will talk about that in much detail later. I just wanted to show you guys that in order to store different types of data, we will use different number of bytes. So this is it guys for this video. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you don't like it, hit the dislike button. If you have anything to say, write that in the comment box. For more tutorials, subscribe to the channel.